Good afternoon, good night, good morning, depending on which part of the world you're listening in from. I'm Blackbright, broadcasting out of the UK, and I tend to talk about topics that I find interesting, that I think may interest others, and they can be about anything. The one I'm going to talk today is about the heritage visa, which is called the heritage passport, which is called the UK Ancestry visa. Now, it sounds quite exciting, doesn't it? You can get into the UK, it only takes 3 months, and you can come in and work on this Ancestry visa. Now, what is the catch? There's got to be a catch, you know. You're not going to just be able to come in here like that, are you? So, I'm going to tell you how you do it. I shouldn't be smiling because, I just think, they give with one hand, they take with another. It looks all exciting and charming, but maybe there's one person out there who will qualify, and if they can, it'd be great. Anyway, the requirements, I'm going to have to read them out. They need to be a Commonwealth citizen. Well, that's not too difficult. They need to apply from outside the UK. That's not difficult. They must be able to prove that their grandparents were born in the UK. That might be okay. That's manageable. They need to be 17 years or older. That's good. They've got to have enough money. They can't have any recourse to public funds, of course, and they have to be able to show that they can afford housing for themselves and their family. So I'd imagine that, that amount that applies to people who are coming in on a visa, on a temporary visa or leave to remain, 18,600. They probably need something like that in order to come in, and I think they award it for about 6 months. I'm not sure about the award date. I didn't really see how long it's going to be granted for, but anyway, you need to be self-sufficient. And that 18,600, if they are going to give it to you for a year, must include any gaps. So supposing you're not working for say 3 or 4 months, you have to be able to show that that amount of money is still available. It works out to about £360 a week, just to help you out. Okay, and that is per applicant. Okay, that's just supposing it's being based off the same as a coming to an indefinite leave to remain or leave to remain visa. I'm just basing it off of that, just to give you an idea. So, what's the ancestry proof? Now, this is where it gets a bit sticky. You've got to prove that you have grandparents born in the UK. Well, you'd have to have access to their passports. Hopefully, you have that through your mum or your father. They need to be born between the 31st of March 1922. That means they would have need to have been about 100, I would imagine, nearly. My mother was born in 1927 and she's 93. So 5 years, it's about 98, it's nearly 100. I wonder why they put that stipulation in there. Extremely weird. Anyway, that's not the end of it. They could have been born on a ship, evidence of that, or if they were born on an aircraft, evidence of that. And they can either be legitimate or illegitimate, because as we know back then, there was quite a lot of illegitimate children being bandied around. So it doesn't really matter whether or not they were legitimate or illegitimate. Now, the documents you're going to need. You're going to need your current passport. You're going to need valid travel ID, which is obvious. You're going to need bank statements, I guess 6 months worth. I'm basing that off of the indefinite leave to remain or leave to remain application. If you come from a country that requires TB testing, you need to have proof that you've had that. You need a blank page in your passport. That's quite a strange request, but they need somewhere to stamp it. You need the full birth certificate of yourself. You need the full birth certificate of your grandparents who you're claiming are your ancestors. And you need the marriage certificate of yourself if you're married. You need the marriage certificate of your grandparents if they were married. And if they were adopted, you need adopted papers. And you need to have evidence that you're planning to work when you come over. And that is by a job offer. Now, why I'm smiling is because, you know, all of that, how the hell are you supposed to get a job offer? And it's so, there's nothing concrete. You don't know when you're coming. You don't know if you can get all that information. Or do you get all that information and then start looking for a job abroad? I haven't got a clue. Maybe it's possible, maybe it isn't. But I just thought, you know, the thought of a heritage visa looked so exciting, but then, you know, getting all that documentation, marriage certificates. I tried to get my my mother's marriage certificate and I couldn't bloody get it. So, and especially when these people are deceased, unless they were these people who kind of pass on their documents to their children and they have it in like a little case. Because I remember in the olden days, everybody had a little trunk that they used to keep in the attic or something, and all their important documents were put in this trunk. I don't know if people do that anymore. So I don't know if people keep all of those documents, but maybe this will help some person. You just never know where they are around the world. You don't know who's watching it. So if it does, I'd feel quite happy about that. And that's all for now. Bye-bye.